black spots.
For this project, we'll need a small Phillips head screwdriver. Before we begin, always remove the battery and AC adapter. Loosen the access panel door cover screw. Remove the 2 hard drive screws. Slide the access panel door cover down and lift it away from the laptop. Remove the hard drive. Unscrew the single optical drive latch locking screw. Eject the optical drive latch by pressing it in. Slide the optical drive out of the laptop base. Next, with your fingers, separate the clips on each side of the memory stick until the memory lifts up. Loosen the 4 heatsink screws. Unplug the heatsink fan. Lift and remove the heatsink from the motherboard. Using a small flathead screwdriver, turn the CPU's processor's lock and screw counterclockwise, approximately 180 degrees, to unlock the CPU. Unscrew the 2 screws on the left and right hinge covers. Slide the hinge covers away from the laptop base. Disconnect the antenna cables from the wireless cards. Disconnect the LCD cable from the motherboard. Loosen from the upper routing channels. Remove all the wireless cards from the motherboard. Remove the 2 hinge screws. Remove the 7 palm rest screws on the bottom of the laptop. Loosen the 2 palm rest screws located in the optical drive bay. Unplug the CMOS battery from the motherboard. In the battery area, loosen the 3 clips by sliding them to the left to loosen the LED cover. Flip the laptop over. Carefully lift the LCD display assembly away from the bottom base. Lift and remove the LED cover from the laptop base. Remove the 2 screws holding the keyboard to the bottom base. Using the tab at the top of the keyboard, slide the keyboard up and lift the keyboard away from the bottom base assembly. Disconnect the 4 palm rest cables. Remove the 4 screws holding the palm rest to the base assembly. Carefully unsnap and lift the palm rest off the laptop base. Remove the 2 screws from the express card slot. Remove the filler card. To remove the cage, you will have to press down at the center of the cage. and lift the back edge at the same time. Disconnect the 1394 cable. Disconnect the smart card cable. Remove the 3 motherboard screws. Carefully lift the motherboard out of the base starting at the back. The USB NIC circuit board will disconnect from the motherboard and stay in the base assembly. Remove the USB audio circuit board from the base. Replace the USB audio circuit board into the base assembly. Place the motherboard on the base assembly, starting by positioning the motherboard underneath the LCD display latch assembly. Press the motherboard down onto the USB circuit board to make sure the connection is seated correctly. Replace the 3 motherboard screws. Connect the smart card cable. Connect the 1394 cable. Replace the express card slot cage assembly. Secure it with the 2 screws. Place the touchpad palm rest onto the laptop base starting from the bottom, working your way up. Replace the 4 screws to hold down the touchpad palm rest to the bottom base assembly. Connect and plug in the 4 palm rest cables. Place the keyboard onto the laptop, slide it into the connector. Secure the keyboard with the 2 screws. Place the LED cover onto the laptop, press down until the clips lock into place. Place the LCD display assembly onto the base. Close the LCD lid and flip the laptop over. Replace the 2 hinge screws to hold down the display assembly to the bottom base. Replace the 7 touchpad palm rest screws. Tighten the 2 palm rest screws in the optical drive bay. Reconnect the DC jack cable. Plug the CMOS battery into the motherboard. Place the CPU into the processor slot. Lock it down by turning the locking screw clockwise. Replace the heatsink fan assembly. Tighten down the 4 heatsink screws in a numeric order located on the heatsink. Plug the heatsink fan into the motherboard. Place the memory stick into the slot, aligning the notches on the memory stick to the notches on the slot. Do this at a 45-degree angle. Push down until you hear a click. Replace all the wireless cards on the motherboard. Reroute the antenna cable and LCD cables through the bottom routing channels. Connect the antenna cables to the wireless cards. Connect the LCD cable to the motherboard. Slide the optical drive into the laptop base. Replace the locking screw. Place the hinge covers onto the laptop base, slide them into position. Replace the 2 hinge cover screws. Place the access door cover onto the laptop starting at the bottom. Slide up into place. Replace the hard drive. Screw down a single retaining screw. Replace the 2 hard drive screws. Replace the battery.
We hope you found this tutorial useful. All parts discussed in this tutorial can be found at partspeople.com.